Bubba Wallace is one of the biggest woke losers in sports, and he's pushed by NASCAR consistently for very apparent reasons. We saw them all walk behind him and essentially hold him up as some sort of hero during the Black Lives Matter movement. We saw him report a hate crime to be a fake victim, when in reality it was just a garage pole after the FBI had to do an investigation. And now, Bubba Wallace is once again in the crosshairs of a lot of people for his antics on the racetrack against Kyle Larson, when he intentionally wrecked Kyle Larson, put him into a wall, and then came across and assaulted him multiple times. Well, Bubba Wallace has now apologized. He's so sorry for his actions, even though he's clearly not. Well, now a NASCAR legend is absolutely fucking destroying NASCAR for the weak punishment, the one race suspension for Bubba Wallace. Kyle Petty doesn't buy Bubba Wallace's apology, calls for a stronger suspension. He should have been suspended the rest of the year. Former NASCAR Cup Series driver and current analyst for NBC Sports, Kyle Petty, made it clear he disagrees with NASCAR's punishment of Bubba Wallace after he retaliated against Kyle Larson during the South Point 400 at Las Vegas Speedway. NASCAR suspended Wallace for the upcoming race at Homestead. He only received the suspension, was not fined or docked any points. Wallace intentionally retaliated against Kyle Larson after he drove to the bottom, both him and Kevin Harvick in turn 3. Harvick backed out of the 3-wide racing, leaving just Wallace and Larson. We have seen that. Maybe we can get a little bit of a look at this wreck here.
It's Logano, Blaney, and Larson. Name 3.
Big battle off of turn
right
4
here.
here.
So you can see Larson does bump him up, and Kyle Larson would, hey, that was a mistake, shouldn't have done that. But look at Bubba Wallace intentionally coming down and wrecking him.
Wall goes Bubba Wallace. And he comes back across the track, tags the 5. They're both in the wall. The caution comes out.
And that, of course, led to the confrontation between them. Bubba Wallace running across the entire track to confront Kyle Larson. And eventually, he shoved him multiple times. Shoved him into the car, shoved him repeatedly. Bubba Wallace acted like a fucking thug. Kyle Petty reacted to NASCAR's suspension, revealing the punishment was not hard enough. Petty said, I disagree a little, and this is what I say. He should have been suspended for the rest of the year. Rest of the year. He drives for Denny Hamlin, who's been vocal about safety. The only reason he's in the 45 is his teammate's career was all but ended because of an accident in this car, and that the drivers have vocalized need to be safer. He turns a guy into the right rear on the outside wall intentionally. Steering brake, that's laughable. Turns a guy to the outside wall, then walks across the racetrack. And yeah, like Bubba Wallace tried to say it was some sort of system failure. Bullshit. After the race, you stupid cocksucker, you fake victim bitch. After the race, you said you intentionally did it. That's what you said. Now you're trying to backtrack and lie like the pussy that you are. First, you intentionally wreck somebody. That's a suspension. He's walking across a racetrack. Cars are going by him on both sides. That's not safe. That should be another suspension. Physically confronts a driver, shoves him. That's a physical confrontation. If I do that on the sidewalk, I'm in handcuffs. So he physically confronts the driver, shoves an official, doesn't get in an ambulance, walks back to the pit, stands there and bold-faced tells a fib. He means a lie because he's being nice to my man Marty here. So the lesson should be the rest of the year. Just the rest of the year. That's me, okay? My man Matt Kenseth, who didn't speak to me for almost a year after his accident with Joey Logano, got 2 races. So you can turn a guy right side, driver's side into a wall at 180 miles an hour and you get 1. He then pointed out multiple other suspensions we've seen for a tire flying down pit road. They got 4 weeks suspension for that for the pit crew. But Bubba Wallace, for all the safety violations he just had in this one instance, gets 1. The optics for that for NASCAR are not good. They're just not good. He should have at least gotten the rest of the year. I'm sorry. Later in the segment, Petty further elaborated, saying, this was an intentional act. He can say the steering broke, but he never lifted off the accelerator. At the same time, he drove back down the racetrack, whichever way you want to go. This was an unprofessional move. What we saw to Kyle Larson was a champion and a professional. The way he backed away from Bubba, the way you interviewed with him, another good interview, Marty, the way you interviewed him and the things he had to say. I mean, he is just fucking slamming him. He's slamming NASCAR for the weak punishment, and he's slamming bitch-ass Bubba Wallace. And then Petty disputes Wallace's apology. Because Bubba Wallace did put out this fake-ass bitch apology that didn't go over very well with a lot of people. When Snyder points out Wallace issued it, Petty replies, His PR people sent out an apology, and they should win a Pulitzer because it's so full of you-know-what, that there's no way, this is unbelievable, it just is. Until I see what Bubba has to say and see if there's some contrition, if he says, I'm sorry, this never should have happened, but we've yet to hear it from the man. You see a piece of paper with writing on it. That's all I see. Sack up and come apologize. Like, he's fucking destroying him because Bubba Wallace is a liar. He's a race baiter. He's a bad driver. And NASCAR continues to push him. They don't want to punish him because we know what the reality is. If they punish him too harshly, what's Bubba Wallace going to say? I'm a victim of racism. I'm a victim. I'm a fake victim because Bubba Wallace is a cocksucking bitch. That's just the bottom line. The people in NASCAR should be ashamed of themselves for this weak punishment. NASCAR fans don't like Bubba Wallace. They hate Bubba Wallace. Not because of the color of his skin, but because of the content of his character and his piss-poor racing. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.